Hello everyone and welcome to a really awesome game that was played yesterday between Hikaru Nakamura and Alireza Firouzja. It comes as a suggestion from Daniel Baggio, so thank you for suggesting such a wild game. They had a match and this is one of the games they've played. It's a 3-minute Blitz game, so 3 minutes plus 0 seconds increment, and it's it's a great game and it's a really funny game, especially because Nakamura thought that he had something and then he realized he didn't, but actually he did, so it's really weird. But it is very enjoyable. But before we check out the game, I would just like to mention yesterday was my birthday, so I decided to throw in a nice tournament on Leeches on Saturday. So the link will be in the description below. Everyone is welcome to join. I set a prize fund to $1,000. However, if any of you guys want to contribute to the prize fund, 100% of all the contributions will be added to the prize fund. So all the info is in the description below if you guys are interested in joining in. I will be streaming all of the games, so as usual, there's a chance that your game will be showcased while you're delivering some very deadly attacks and achieving great victories. Now, that being said, let's check out this game. So Nakamura has the white pieces and he opens with e4. Alireza goes for c5, the Sicilian defense, and Hikaru goes for d4, the Smith-Morra gambit. And on the stream, he said that maybe Alireza isn't as great in playing this line as he should be, so he's gonna try it. He doesn't think much of it, but it could work. So c captures on d4, and now c3. Continuing in the style of this gambit, but Alireza does not capture on c3. He plays knight to f6, so he declines the gambit, goes for the Alpine formation. We have e5 by Hikaru, knight to d5, and now queen captures on d4. We have e6 now, defending the knight, and knight to f3. Knight to c6, attacking the queen, now queen to e4, and here Alireza goes for f5. He wants Hikaru to play e captures on f6, en passant, and then both of the knights will be excellently placed, and he will have very, very strong central setup. So here we have queen back to e2 by Hikaru, and queen to c7 now. We have g3 preparing to fianchetto the light square bishop. Also, Hikaru wants the castle. And now b5. Alireza spent a few seconds on this move, but it's a very tricky move, actually. If the pawn is accepted, then you play a5, and now you're threatening bishop to a6. And this is an ugly position for white. Even if you go all the way back, it's still very ugly. You're just going to play a4, and now how does white castle here? If you prepare castling, then bishop to a6, and you're not castling here. Knight c4, you can play knight to f5. Again, if you castle, then just bishop captures on c4. It's a very, very ugly position for white. So instead, after b5, we have bishop to g2 right away by Hikaru, and now bishop to e7. Continuing development, we have castles, and now a5. So continuing the expansion on the queen side, we have rook to e1, and now comes the bishop to a6. As now now that the rook has been played on e1, the b pawn was maybe even capturable. But now, okay, bishop to a6. We have a3 now, and just castles by Alireza. We have queen to d1. Hikaru doesn't like his position here all that much. b4 is coming at any point, so you don't want your queen on e2. He plays queen back to d1, and now bishop back to b7. Alireza also wants to counter Hikaru's strong light square bishop on g2. So here, knight b to d2, preparing either knight b3 or maybe knight f1 to e3, and now a4. So just grabbing more space on the queen side, preventing Hikaru from gaining any active squares. Knight to f1, and now knight to b6, with the idea of maybe going to c4. So here we have knight to e3, and now knight to a5. So now this knight can come to b3, this knight can come to c4. It's going to be very hard for Hikaru to play this. We have knight to d4, and now as the bishop is under attack here, we just traded. Bishop captures, king captures, but not king captures, because if king captures, then queen captures on e5 is coming. You don't have any good discoveries, and the queen covers the b5 square, so you can't win your pawn back. So here, Hikaru has to play knight captures on g2, and now queen to b7. So what do you play here? We have knight back to e3, and now comes knight b to c4, offering a trade of knights. Hikaru trades once, we have captures, and now queen to e2. So now there is some pressure on this b5 pawn. The e5 pawn is nicely defended, so what can Alireza play here? He plays rook 8 to c8. He continues development, and h4 now. Hikaru wants to get this bishop to f4, and he doesn't want to allow moves like g5 could be very nasty. So here rook to c5 by Alireza, now with a double attack on the e5 pawn, and now bishop to f4 defending this. We have rook to d5, and now comes rook a to d1. And now Hikaru finished the development of his pieces. And Alireza has to figure out how to get through this. So he goes bishop to c5, and now comes knight back to f3. And here Alireza could capture on b2, but it's a very tricky line. If knight captures on b2, we're going to capture with the queen. And now rook captures on d1, rook captures, queen captures on f3, and now rook captures on d7. So here black can be very happy, as black's bishop is much better than white's bishop here on f4. However, Alireza decides to capture on d1 first. We have rook captures on d1, and only now knight captures on b2. And now it's a bit different, because now Hikaru doesn't have to capture. Now Hikaru could play rook to b1, and it's a very tricky position. Bishop captures on a3. Black is still better, but he allowed him this option. But Hikaru continued with queen captures on b2, and now we basically continue in the same line. Queen captures on f3, rook captures on d7, and now h6, creating some breathing room for the king here. And now queen to d2. Here, if you go after the b5 pawn, this is super dangerous, as you're getting mated. Just queen captures here, king h1, and queen to g1 will be checkmate. So instead, after this h6 move, we have queen to d2. Hikaru likes his position here very much. There's a double attack on the h6 pawn. The rook is very strong on the 7th rank. So here, Alireza played rook to c8. And here, he allowed Hikaru to end the game on the spot. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find this incredible idea that Alireza missed while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on sacrificing the first thing that popped into your head. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's a rook captures on g7. That's the good stuff. And now, if you don't accept this, it's just, for example, bishop captures, you ruin black's entire king side, and black doesn't really have any threats at the moment. So it's just a winning position for white. So black's only hope is to capture the rook. But now comes queen d7 check. And now if you go up the board, then we can pick up the rook with check. So king to g6. Now queen captures on e6 with check. King to h7, queen to d7 check, king g6, and now h5 check. This is the move you had to find. And now the problem is, if you capture with the king, then just queen captures on f5 is checkmate. So you have to capture with the queen, and this is crucial. So now you don't have queen captures on f2. So only now you pick up the rook here, and here white is just winning. If you try and start something here with queen back to f3, then we just go for a checkmating attack. Queen g8 check, king h5, queen to e8 check. The king doesn't have all that many squares. You have to go to g4. Now queen g6 check, king to h3, and now queen captures on h6 check. And now that's it. You either go king to g4, then queen to h4 is checkmate, or you block with the queen, and then we deliver this checkmate. I prefer this one, so we're gonna leave this one on the board. So queen to h4 checkmate. So this was in the position. However, after Alireza's rook to c8, Hikaru played rook back to d3. He attacked his queen, and now he says, okay, let's give him the f2 pawn. And Alireza goes for it. Here, this is very dangerous, and there is no need to do this. Queen to e4 or queen to b7 is what you should play. Queen to bishop captures on f2 was played, but now this makes it much easier for Hikaru. So now king to h2, and now queen to e4. Now getting the queen out of harm's way, and now if queen captures, then queen captures on d3. So now Hikaru repeats, rook to d7, and Alireza now just goes back. The bishop here is under attack, so bishop back to c5. But now Hikaru can grab on g7, but it's not as potent as a few moves ago. So rook captures on g7 was played, king captures on g7, queen to d7 with check, and king to g6 now. And here it's very funny, because here Hikaru played queen captures on e6, king to h5, and now Hikaru is again winning. You have to go for a repetition here if you don't want to get checkmated. So here, like I said, after queen captures on e6, Alireza played king h5, and Hikaru said, oh man, something like, I didn't think he had this. I thought I would be checkmating him, but he in fact is checkmating him. He just doesn't know it. So feel free to pause the video here and win the game for the second time for Hikaru while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on not playing queen captures on h6. Although it looks so great, it simply doesn't work. And for those of you who found the g4, congratulations, as this is the only move that wins. Problem is, if you go for this queen captures here, king g4, queen g5 check, king f3, even queen to h5 with check, king f2, there are no more moves. It's just going to be queen to g2 checkmate, and there's nothing you can do to prevent this. So what you had to do here after king to h5 is g4 with check. And now the problem is, if f captures, then you block the king's escape. There's no g4 square for the king, and then queen captures on h6 is checkmate. So you couldn't capture with the pawn, you'd have to capture with the king, but it's not much better. Just queen to g6 with check, king to f3, we're gonna play queen to g2 with check, king captures on f4, and now queen to g3 will be checkmate. So really, really incredible stuff. What hidden paths this game is hiding. So here, after king to h5, we have queen to f7 check. Hikaru misses g4 here, so queen f7 check. But now Alireza gets to escape with his king. King to g4, we have queen to g6 with check, king to f3, queen h5 check, king f2, and here, for the lack of a better move, Hikaru grabbed the pawn on h6, but now Alireza just delivered queen to g2 checkmate, and we get to this awesome formation that on this channel we call the chess threesome, and it's been a while since we had this. So really awesome game. Hikaru was right. He could outplay Alireza in the Alpine variation. He had one chance, then he had the second chance, but it's pretty crazy because I mean, Hikaru is so strong in, for example, Puzzle Rush. He solves everything, but in Puzzle Rush, you know there's a solution. When you're playing a game, you don't know that there's a solution, and you know. It's I guess it's important to treat every position like there's a solution, but it's a 3-minute blitz game. You don't have all the time in the world, so you know, if you spent all that much time on every position, you would very quickly run out of time. So it's you know, a nice mixture of both. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you're interested in joining in on Saturday, do check it out. The link is in the description below, so you can join the tournament. It's you know, it should be a lot of fun. I'm not planning on any guests. I'm probably going to be streaming alone, but you never know. You know what could happen. And also, I just wanted to share this with you guys. The Champions Chess Tour is continuing, and we have the return of a very strong chess player. Hou Yifan is returning to the board, or in this case, you know, over the computer, and she's going to be joining these fine gentlemen in the pursuit for winning winning the tournament. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm very interested to see how she will do after being away from the board for such a long time. But yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Really a crazy game. I would like to thank Mr. Hoodie Guy, David Young, Andra Lazaroy, Nelson Edwards, and Rafael Lenz for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing the Morphe saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.